been developing her signature style of uniquely abstract paintings and mixed media work for over 40 years. After completing 5 years of arts training at the University of Wollongong in the mid-80s, Lorna gained an Associate Diploma of Creative Art, followed by a Bachelor of Creative Arts, graduating with distinction. Lorna has been involved with many artist-run initiatives and community arts projects over many years. She was also awarded the prestigious Sir William Keys Churchill Fellowship, researching community arts and mental health in 2002. Setting herself a personal goal to exhibit at least once a year, Lorna has contributed to countless solo and group exhibitions, and her work can be found in private and public collections all over the world, including at the National Irish Visual Arts Library in Dublin and the Bundanon Trust in New South Wales. Lorna has a work ethic to be admired. She is disciplined in her studio practice and seems to effortlessly produce amazing work that speaks about moments of time that she has spent in the Australian landscape, where narratives are formed via her own visual lexicon in an experiential and gestural manner. Lorna is both bold and courageous, and yet one of the kindest and most generous people you will ever meet. Past students describe her as being incredibly generous with her knowledge and guidance. Her gift as a tutor is helping students let go of perfection, embrace the mistakes, and bend the creative rules by letting go of expectations. It's been an absolute honour getting to know Lorna over the past few months, collaborating with the creation of her new online course. And I'm so excited to share her with you tonight, hoping you get an insight into the many layers that make Lorna the wonderful, instinctual artist and person that she is. Hello, Lorna.
Oh, wow. Hi. Lovely to be here with you again, Ange. It's been a bit of a journey and I've loved every single minute of it. It's just been incredible. So, yeah, it'll be an interesting conversation tonight and I can't wait to chat with you.
Yeah, me too, Lorna. It's just been incredible getting to know you over the last few months, and I'm so looking forward to letting you tell your story. Your stories out there, and talking about your wonderful work tonight and the journeys that you've been on as an artist. And I just want to give you a big hug because we've done all of this without actually hugging, and it's been such a journey. So one day.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of like I feel like I've been in lockdown for so long, but it's kind of been good as well. Like it's you can kind of we've talked about this earlier about having a cup half full, and even though I've been through so many different things in my life, it's just so good to be able to pick myself back up again and go, okay, well, what can I learn from this, and to move forward and embrace that. And I find it exciting now. You kind of get a bit of an adrenaline rush about it because it's like, okay, now it's time to really get going with this and well, what do I do now? And setting those goals are really important as well. So, back in art school days when it was like, we were told it'd be good if you're going to be a real artist, you've got to at least have an exhibition, at least one exhibition a year. And I've actually made that. I've actually set that goal, and that's actually happened because I like to be able to have a deadline as well.
So, I think deadlines are so important. But before we get into deadlines, I just want to say you're not alone tonight. So there's plenty of people, even though some of us are in isolation, we're certainly not alone. I'll just do a couple of shout outs. So Anne's here. She made it in.
Oh, good. Hi,
Anne. And Patricia, do you know Patricia?
I've got a feeling I do, but
she's one of she's one of our great supporters and a great. She sent me some lovely emails over the time, and I love Patricia. I don't think we've met Patricia, but I love you. You're so supportive. Thank you. And Fran, hi Fran.
Hi Fran. Wow.
And Noni.
how are you? Good to see you. Oh, Francie. Lovely to see you as well. I met Francie in Adelaide. Hi, Glenys. Fantastic to see you. Oh, hi, Tracy. Yeah, you're wonderful. Oh, Susan from way back when I was at BHP days and art school. Yeah, wow. Yeah, hi. Hi, my friend Liz from Marimbula, who went to Venice with me.
Oh, lucky lady.
Oh, lovely.
Hi, Julie. Oh my gosh, it keeps coming in, Lorna. I can't keep up with them.
Oh, Yadranka, I've got some of your work in my course materials. So I love recycling, and Yadranka has been one of my big followers and a great friend as well. So wonderful to see you here. Hi, Dawn. Oh, wow.
And Judy, New York City. It's 2 a.m., Judy. You are amazing.
Oh, wow. I've got some great followers. Oh, newbie. Hi. How are you, Anne? Lovely to see you here.
Oh yes.
Hi,
Beautiful.
Peter. Yeah, lovely to see you too.
Yeah. We'll be watching it. Yeah, you can watch it again tomorrow, Fran, for sure. Yeah. Fantastic. Great. Well, you're certainly not alone, Lorna. You have a lot of raving fans, and I'd like to put my hand up as being one of those people now as well.
Oh, thank you. Well, you're one of my. I really love having you as a fan. You've taught me heaps as well, so it's been fantastic. It's just been great, and it's just lovely to meet somebody that you can just trust and to be who you are. So, and that's what I've felt with you and Daniel as well. So it's been a great experience. So yeah,
we certainly learned a lot. And I think I told Noni the story about that when we arrived and we were just getting to know each other and we were filming. And tonight's call is going to be more about you, but one of the lessons you taught me very, very early on, I think it was the second day, and I knew you were very instinctual. And like when we're working with people, we have a shot list and we have an agenda and all that. By the second day, I was so liberated by letting that go. And in the morning, we'd come into your studio and it'd be like, the first couple of days, it'd be like, all right, well, we really need to do this and this and this. And I was like, control. And then I was like, hang on a minute. Let's try, like, Lorna, what do you want to do today? And you were like, whoa, I want to do this. And it just was amazing. And I was like, thank goodness we got rid of those rules. We got rid of the rules really early. So
I have never been able to follow rules. So that kind of happened from a very, very early age with me. And, it was something that I kind of had to learn to live with as a young child as well, because I wanted to be able to knit and sew just like my sisters, but I could never follow a pattern or do anything at all like that. So it's kind of liberating when you give yourself permission, to create your own rules. And I like working in an organic way. So you can set some parameters about the way you're going to work. But then as you start working, that changes. And why should you stop that flow? And, you need to kind of, work on something and let it become what it's meant to be. And, it becomes like it's a two-way street with the maker and what you're making as well. And, I think there's an interesting dialogue that happens between the maker and the work. And, it's just an exciting process. And I'm so process driven as well. And I love experimenting and, pushing the boundaries for me is a really, I've just learned to trust that process and to let it speak first. And so it was just great to see you sort of let me be who I am. And I think just letting it flow is really, really important. So magic can happen, and sometimes it doesn't, and that's okay. Like sometimes you can push it too far as well, and that and that's something that you learn. And, you know, I learn all of the time. And, you know, that's, I think as I get older, I want to learn more. And I just look at things like, you know, I say to my husband, you know, or my husband sort of says to me, I don't understand what comes out of your head sometimes. And I said, well, I've got to live with it. But, you know, being a creative is it's such a gift, and everybody's got their own creative way of working, whatever it is. And, you know, it can be garden, it can be creating, you know, it could be drawing, it could be a musician, a poet, or whatever. It's instinctual, I think, in everybody. It's whether they're being open to it.
Did it take you a long time to sort of find your voice as an artist, like, and just to like be okay with not following rules? Because I think we spend, like, when we're kids, you know, we're so free, and I see it in my kids, and then at a certain age they sort of start comparing themselves with others, and then at what age, I think it's different for every woman or every person, they stop comparing themselves. But when were you okay with being you?
I guess going to art school probably did that to me, and it was a really kind of simple one. When I went to art school, I was a painting major, and I did printmaking and textiles as my secondaries. And I decided to take textiles because I wanted to prove to myself that I could actually, you know, follow rules and do something, you know, to make something that's made out of fibre, and in honour of, you know, because my mum had passed away quite a few years earlier, and I just thought, you know what, I think I can do this. And it was when I was trying to spin, I would be on the spinning wheel, and I was just a ball of sweat, and I'm like, you know, trying to spin and trying to get it, and we had all of these slubs, and I was trying to get it fine. And, you know, the teacher, Joan Chappell it was at the time, said, oh my gosh, just relax. And then there was another exercise, and I finally got to do it. But the next exercise was trying to do a landscape-based fibre work, and I didn't know how to start it at all. And she said, well, just do a background wash on the cloth, and just treat your needle and thread like you would a pencil or a paintbrush. And that gave me permission just to follow that thread, and let my hand do the talking, and let it just be what it was meant to be. So, and that was just so liberating to me. And, you know, that was a pivotal moment for me. And it's, you know, just something that you just think, well, it's okay. You know, it's okay not to follow those rules, and to break them, and do it your own way. You know, that's where you put your own stamp on it as well. And, you know, that's what it's all about. You know, I had quite a few mentors, you know, during that time as well. There was going to University of Wollongong was a really interesting time in the early 80s. So, you know, I graduated in 1986 after 5 years, and it was such an exciting time, because it was the first time that the School of Creative Arts started as the associate diploma, and then 2 years later it started as the Bachelor of Creative Arts. And it was a wonderful time, because our lectures were based not just, you know, the painters having their lectures, and it was a combined assembly every Monday morning with guest speakers. And, you know, we would be grouped together with musicians and poets and performers, and, you know, and creative writers and sculptors, you know, like the whole gamut of the creatives. And, you know, that meant that, you know, in each of our exhibitions we had, you know, people that would perform or recite, or, you know, and it was such a great time. And to be able to hear all of these different creatives speak about their practices was, I just think that it was just, you know, it gave us so much permission. And, you know, it was permission to be able to be brave and to push ourselves a little bit more and to question ourselves. And, it was fraught with lots of doubts and fears as well along the way, but, beautiful mentors and some of them that I still keep in contact with today as well. So, it's great to have mentors. I don't think there's enough of it. And I know that, Glenys and Kaz were talking about that last week, and I'm just like shaking my head going, yes, it's just wonderful. And, it's great for somebody to say, that looks really interesting. Now turn that work around and upside down and, just work into it again. And, why don't you think about cutting it up and turning it into something else? And you go, oh, am I allowed to do that? And, that's how I like to kind of work, that it's I get so excited about, if I'm struggling with something, it means that there's something there that I've got to push that little bit further. And, the one that I struggle the most with is generally the one that leads me along the right path. So, yeah. So I like breaking rules. But I'm not defined. Look, you can be defined. You can kind of have certain sorts of rules but it's, I just don't think that you should be defined by those rules either, because I think that it can cripple you as an artist. So, and, I just want to be free with what I do. And, I think you talked about that earlier, that, I'm very much an instinctual sort of intuitive worker. And, I really honestly trust what I do now. And it's taken me a long time to do it, and it's been a really long journey, but it's been lovely having, those mentors that believed in you, even in the very early days, and, just saying, just keep on with it, and, just be true to yourself and keep on doing what you're doing, and you'll grow into it, you'll grow into yourself. And that's actually what's happened.
That's so gorgeous and so poetic, that it's just simply permission, giving yourself, either you give yourself that permission or a wonderful mentor gives you that permission, and it opens up something deep inside. Do you think that's why you're such a wonderful teacher and mentor yourself, because you had that, because people mentored and taught you that way? Like, how like our lives are based on our experiences, and
oh yeah, we're the sum of our past, and where we control our destiny as well. But it's where we're willing to, like look at that past and to, but also be in the present as well. It's, sometimes you can get bogged down with that past as well. But it's really interesting when you can, the way I like to work and teach is I like to tell a story, and there are some stories that are difficult to tell, like some of the troubles that I've had, and that started when I was working in a mental health institution, teaching people in a 40-bed residential institution, and when I told them that when I was a little girl in year 6, and I didn't do the corner top stitch properly on my tray cloth, and the headmaster's wife, excuse me, came along and smacked me with a ruler. And the people in my little room in the class that I was teaching said, "That happened to me too, Lorna. I didn't know that could happen to someone like you as well." And I said, well, it did. And there were other times when I would do a painting and someone would say, "It looks like somebody had just, it looks like the toilets at Brighton Beach at Wollongong," and where they were doing those sponge painting things, and you get really offended by them, but you kind of learn to be able to express, finding your language and understanding where it's come from, and if you've got that narrative to be able to talk about it, people can understand it a little bit more. So, you know, those little stories kind of help, and it gives them permission to, or anybody permission in a group to go, oh, okay, this is liberating. I'm just going to give this a go. And they get, you know, people get really surprised by that, you know, I didn't think I could do that, but, you know, this is really interesting. So, you know, it's, yeah, and accidents happen. You know, when I won one of my first art prizes was when I was at art school, and one of the lecturers said, "I think you should put something in the Wollongong Art Prize." And I thought, "Oh, okay, then I'll have a go at doing this painting." And you know, my youngest son at the time was I think only 3 or 4. He was going to kids uni, and he would watch me paint downstairs in the rumpus room down in my house in Wollongong. And I was doing this beautiful painting, and it was all beautiful colours and bright blues and purples and greens. And I thought, oh, you know, this is looking really, really good. And I thought, I just need a little bit of yellow. And I had this beautiful, huge, great big tub of beautiful runny yellow Liquitex, and I thought, I just need a little bit of yellow. And I had to duck upstairs, probably go to the loo, and I came back down, and my son Adam had tipped all of the Liquitex paint all over it. And I thought, holy crap, I'm going to have to really work hard now. And it was just incredible. It was just like I worked like crazy, and I won the Wollongong Art Prize. So, you know, if that was another learning point, excuse me, for me, that, you know, like, you know, mistakes can be really, really interesting if you embrace that opportunity to make something work. And you know, that's what I've kind of learned a lot over, you know, many, many years now. And it's, you know, there's times when I really thrive on that kind of adrenaline as well. So, and it's just really exciting that it's like, okay, well, I'm going to make this work. And, you know, it's still one of my favourite little pieces that I've got. So, yeah,
what an incredible story.
So, yeah. See, that you know, my youngest son used to, because, you know, I was going to university part-time, so, you know, I would pin things up on the walls, and I would, because I'm such a gestural sort of person as well, that I'd be, you know, rubbing it in with my fingers, and, you know, like pouring it in with, you know, onto the floor as well. And he was just following mummy. So, you know, it's just incredible what children pick up, and you know, what you learn from your children as well. So, you know, like, okay, that was his little gift to me. It was a great gift, because that, you know, that just, I think that winning that prize in that early stage was, you know, that was that big sign of approval that, oh, you know, like, if you really try hard at something or put yourself out there, you've got to put yourself out there. And, you know, if you want to take yourself seriously, you've got to enter a prize, or you've got to be in a group exhibition, and, you know, you've got to set those goals for yourself. So, you know, in those early days at University of Wollongong, there was a group of people that formed one of the first artist-run spaces in Wollongong called Art Arena Gallery. And, you know, I've been a huge, you know, I've been involved with artist-run spaces since the early 80s, and it's been the best experience, because, you know, you get that opportunity to be with like-minded people. You can help run a gallery, you learn how to curate, you learn how to hang an exhibition, write artist statements, and, you know, it's just all part of that learning process. And, you know, there's something kind of special about, you know, with the artist-run spaces, that you're in control of your own destiny as well. And it, you know, it gives you good opportunities then, if you want to build yourself up to become part of the commercial gallery scene, or to, back then it was all being about commercial galleries, and now, there's a lot of places now where you hire a space for a certain amount of time, and I think it's a really exciting time now with what's happening, and now being online as well is just as exciting, with social media as well, that connection. When I moved down here, it was hard to, I had no like-minded people, and for me, joining Facebook and joining Facebook art groups was my way of connecting to the world, and and that was just so exciting. My eldest son Dan said to me, "Mum, you need to get onto Facebook," and I'm not going to go on Facebook. No. And So, and then I found these wonderful art groups that I thought, oh, gee, I'd like to be able to get 10 likes. And, it was like, oh, this could be really good. And, one day it'd be so good if I could get 30 like Andrew Crane in Scotland, and, North England. And it was so funny because I liked him because it was Andrew Crane, and he's got the most beautiful work. And he belonged to an Arts International group, and I asked him, is it safe to do that, Andrew? And he said, yes, I've made the most wonderful friends, and, it's this incredible community where you can just share so much. And, it's, like Facebook and now Instagram is just the most amazing place to, especially when you're in the country, and, to be able to connect with people. And Facebook has given me incredible international opportunities, and Instagram has given me so many Australian opportunities. So, and it's just been incredible. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I'm so pleased that, you can embrace the social media and the online. I know a lot of people are, a bit scared of it, or they hang their heart on it, sort of thing. Like, but it's, just putting yourself out there. I think that's what you do so well.
And I just think too, like it's with artists around the world. If you like their work, and why not? Why not friend somebody, and why don't you follow them? And it's like when I was asked to become involved with a international art exhibition, and I thought, oh, is this going to be okay? And so then, being a bit of a researcher, I decided I'd asked somebody who'd done it before, and he said it was a wonderful experience, and that took me off to Venice and a residency in Venice, and it was and I was able to have 2 weeks there and be there for the opening, and it was an incredible experience. And then I've shown in all different places, being involved with with people like that, and and met some incredible people on Instagram now as well. So it's just a different way of working. And I guess when you're in communities like I'm down on the far south coast of New South Wales, right near the Victorian border, and I've got to travel 7 hours to get to Melbourne, and 7 hours to get to Sydney, or 3.5 hours to get to Canberra to see a bigger gallery. And, I really miss that. But we chose here because we've got an airport here, and, I can hop on a plane from Merimbula to get to Melbourne, or to, I can get to Sydney or wherever, or I can get links or drive up to Canberra and fly out to internationally as well. It's just it's just great. I love my little community here. So it's been really, really good. So
Small communities are awesome. You touched on Venice, and I've got a few photos loaded of some of the work, and I'd love to show some people, like the people that are watching, what you created while you were there. So I'll just pop them up on the screen, Lorna, and then feel free to chat about them. this one here was.
This was the first one, and my darling son Dan and his partner Emma, I'd actually been invited to go to Venice, and I didn't know whether I'd get there or not. And I was doing a residency in Broken Hill at the time, and I was driving back home, and he said, "What are you going to do about Venice, Mum?" And I said, "Oh, I'll just post them. I'll post them over there, and that'll be fine, and at least I can be in an international show." And he and Dan and Emma said, "Well, we want you to go, Mum." So, they ended up sending me to Venice and paid for my airfares. So as long as they could keep some, they could have something from their collection. Now these are the first residency at Venice when I was staying in Cannaregio in this most beautiful apartment. I wanted to have a real Venice experience, and I self-funded myself to get there. And these are the most gorgeous scenes from Venice. And I just got on Airbnb and found the most glorious apartment, and I roamed the streets of Venice, all of the callées, and I had this whole big album of Venice walls, and you can kind of see influences in my work then when you can kind of see the sgraffito and some of the patinas and those bold marks and textures, and like there's such a benefit of investing time in going on a residency, and it is just one of the best experiences. And, that first one taught me so much. And, it was this amazing experience where, I could only afford so much. And I found this Airbnb place, and it was a lady who looked, but he's he's very quiet, and if you can have the bedroom with the ensuite, will that be okay? Anyway, I landed there and I said yes, that would be fine, because it had beautiful rooms and a chandelier, and I had a balcony view, and it was just wonderful. And I got there, and Antonio was the fellow who ended up being an anthropologist who had previously been a gallerist, and he was the most amazing person. By the end of the first couple of, he said, "Oh, I'm in Milan. Here's the keys to the apartment. You can have it yourself." So it was just incredible, and it was on our last night, just before he left to go to Milan, he said, "Oh, I've got to give a lecture at Academia, and I've got some free tickets to an opening. So we're going to catch the traghetto, which is going across the Grand Canal on the traghetto, and we'll go across the Grand Canal and we'll walk across to Academia, where you're going to go to this opening." And when we got there, it was Peggy Guggenheim's Venice. And so I had this special invitation to go into the opening of a Capogrossi exhibition on my first night in Venice. And it was just on that last night when Antonio was leaving. And it was just the most wonderful experience. So, he was able to teach me where to go, to where the locals go for their supermarkets, and, that whole time in Venice was just the best experience, and to meet other artists as well, and to be able to show my work there. So it was just wonderful. So I had an incredible time and fell in love with Venice, and that led off to another time there as well. Yeah, I think everybody should do something like that in their life, like dream big, and to, invest in their dreams, and, it's worthwhile to do that. Don't think it's going to cost a lot of money. It will cost, but if you budget for it, I mean, I was on a pension and still am at this stage, and just, running off some of my workshop fees now as well. But you can pay it by installments, and it's just such a wonderful experience just to take yourself out of that comfort zone and to do something like that. And yeah, it's just incredible. The first one I did was the first big one I did was to go to Berlin, and Berlin was amazing. So yeah. These are some of the drawings that I did when I went to Venice. So I had 1 month in Berlin, and I had one of my mentors, John Martin, was able to get me an apartment in Wilmersdorf, and he was able to orientate me on the first couple of days there. He had a big exhibition coming up, so he could only give me a couple of days. He was able to purchase me a beautiful gift of a 1 month travel pass, and we were able to stand at the base of the Brandenburg Gate on the Day of Unity, celebrating the 20-year anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. And it was just such a really interesting time, because it was, to be able to stand here, there it is there. That was one of my very first sketches after I decided I'd, get my act together and start working. And it was one of the most, it was one of the most bravest thing I did, to be able to go over there and not speak the language, but to just be by myself in that environment, and to walk the streets. And I've always had a love of German art, so going to the Festival of Art in 1986 and seeing a neo-expressionist exhibition and falling in love with the works of Baselitz and Joseph Beuys and Gerhard Richter and Kiefer and Bommels, and to hear them speak at the festival of at the Arts Festival in Adelaide in 1986 while we were in our last year at university was just incredible. And when I was offered the opportunity to go to Wilmersdorf, it was just wonderful, and to be able to have that apartment for 1 month. And I'm not saying it was easy, it was really difficult at times and lonely, but you've got to listen to yourself. And I decided to start journaling and just writing each day. It started when my mentor John said to me, why are you going to do a video? And I said, why can't I do a video? And he said, you're a painter, you should be painting. So that was like a red flag at a bull to me. And by the time I finished my time in Berlin, I taught myself on Apple, on the Apple Mac tutorials, how to edit, and it was just incredible. And that experience meant that damn you, I can do it. And it's you set me a challenge, and I will I want to be able to do it and prove that yes, I can do it. And I guess that was the beginning of really finding my understanding myself, just by doing my daily writing, going to a little cafe in that morning. Started out as writing a letter to my girlfriend at home saying, how dare he say that? And that was, and ended up, some of my journal writing, I thought, look, this is really interesting. And, there are great references then too, when it comes back to writing your artist statements. I did a solo show in Canberra after that. And, it was, I did 11 large paintings and lots of drawings. But, to be there at that time, seeing the exhibitions of, some of my favourite artists, well, all of my favourite artists, and it was a lot of the post-war and pre-war artists. So, and there were the most amazing exhibitions because of the 20th anniversaries. So, it was, it was this incredible growth period for me of understanding, why I make the marks that I make, and why I'm so gestural, and I just related to, like, especially the works of Kiefer, and it was to be able to see the most amazing exhibitions and walk the streets and and still kind of, I felt comfortable there. I felt like I was a real Berliner because I kind of looked like German, and I looked like a German Fräulein. and it was, I'd have my little cap on and I would get out and I would just go for my daily walks every day. And, that ended up kind of turning into a lot of my drawings as well, was like walking along those streets. And that's why I kind of like to do those long panoramas as well. That kind of relates to who I am as an artist now and what I'm doing now as well. But, it's like you're getting the full panorama of a place and sense of the place and the drama of the place. And, Berlin has certainly got that drama. And, just to kind of still kind of feel, some of the ghosts of the past as well. And, especially when you go into the Jewish Museum, and that was an incredible, very unsettling experience, but it was one of the most incredible buildings. I liked the architecture of that. I fell in love with the architecture of Berlin, and a lot of my work was based on that in my way of working. But it was when I went to the Kathy Kollwitz Museum, and I'd just been fiddling around. I thought, I'm just going to video, and I'm just going to take photographs and, let everything sink into me. And then I saw the Kathy Kollwitz works, and it was such an emotional experience for me, seeing the work and then reading about her life and seeing her works that were just on brown paper or butcher's paper. She would just work on anything. And the next day, I just thought, I'm going to buy some ink and I'm just going to start working. So, working in the ink was a way of doing that, and working with the markers as well. And now those sketches are just there's such a potency about the works that you make when you're in residence and the writings that you write, and understanding who you are and why you make, why are you a maker? What are you? And, then I suddenly realized that, I'm a maker and I'm a shaper. Like that John Martin would tell me as well, you are a shape maker, and, you've got certain symbols in your work as well. And, you start looking out for those symbols, and, residencies like that makes you look deeper into yourself. And, it's just such a valuable experience. And, I always say to people about, the different residencies resonate with me in different ways. And, with me for Berlin, it was to live my dream of that 1 month. And I did a blog spot on that as well. So, I'd take photos and upload those every day, write a blog, do my journal, and, just work out how to make a video, meet up with other artists. And, it was just the most amazing experience. And it's, it makes you grow so much. And, that was back in 2009. And, it made me bold, and it made me strong, and it gave me a voice to be able to say, why can't I do this? And this is what I want to do, and this is how I'm going to do it. I'm not sure how it's going to end up, but that's okay. So it was pretty good. And I ended up showing my videos in Melbourne, and it ended up touring around the world. And so it was just like, you've just got to trust. You've just got to trust yourself. Trusting yourself is one of the biggest things that anybody can do. Trust your instincts. Trust that leap of faith, and capitalize on your mistakes, and pick yourself back up again and go, well, what was the best part about that mistake? What can I learn from that? And I learn every day, but and I think we all do. But yeah. But
did Berlin, you find? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Berlin was a very special one. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you find when you go overseas on a residency that you feel more, or you notice more Australiana in your work? Like, do you feel more like I'm actually Australian, like I'm here in Berlin, but my work is very Australian?
When I was in 1988, my ex-husband and I went on a teacher exchange to Canada, and it was an incredible time. I was actually very bold when I was over there as well. I realised that I was a lot bolder than I thought, but I was just not long out of university. I'd had one year where we'd set up the Boulay studio in Wollongong as well, and going to Canada was a really big thing to do that. And I thought, oh, what am I going to do there? And I ended up contacting another artist-run space, and I ended up organising an international art exhibition between the gallery, Art Arena Gallery in Wollongong, as well as Hamilton Artists Inc. in Ontario in Canada. So I became very, very, very bold. But it was in the summer holiday when we had a car that we could travel across Canada, and it was a really interesting. We decided to go from where we were just south of Toronto in the Niagara Peninsula, in a little place called Dunnville, south of Hamilton, in the most beautiful little village, and I just still love that place. It was just incredible, but we decided that we'd go out west first, so we crossed Canada all the way across to Vancouver Island, and then we caught the ferry to Port Angeles, and then we went through the Dakotas and Yellowstone and all of these different places, and right underneath Chicago, and then back to Dunnville again, and then right out east. But every single time we were in a major city, we would stop. I would say, you look after the kids, and I want to go and see the gallery. So I went into every gallery in every city that we could go to, and it was really interesting because you could see from that experience how the landscape impacts on us as artists, and you could get a sense of each gallery and the landscapes that they were making because of because what they could see and feel from their landscape. So yes, when I was over there, how could I deny being Australian? I think when you're away, I was doing all of these bright, bold works like I was doing in Wollongong at the time, and it was so fresh to them to see something like that. And it was just every time I go away, I think that it's a time to kind of reflect on my Australianness and where I come from, where I've been, and what the impact on that landscape had on me. And I like to sit in the landscape. I like to let that place distill into me. So, I've got a sense of what it's all about. And, it might be taking photos, it might be just sitting, it might be reading, it can be, it can be writing about it. It can, sometimes I'll come back and sketch a little bit, but quite often it will be just a little bit of the sketches, and then it will be back into the studio where, the real stuff happens. And, I went on when I was living in Canberra, I went to there's a place in Canberra called Tilly Devines, and they have, when I was there, they used to have poetry readings and performances. And there was one particular time that I went, and it was a writer's evening, and it was with Tim Winton and Drusilla Majeska. And I thought, oh gee, I really liked Drusilla Majeska's Poppy, and I really wanted to be able to listen to her talk about it. But, I tried to read Cloud Street and I just couldn't get into it. But it was listening to Tim Winton talk about, him going away on a residency and him feeling more Australian being when he was away. And then he started to talk about, about the way he would write and how he has recurring motifs and imagery in his work. And I'm thinking, oh, hang on, that's what I've got in my work. And, like that's what it's all about, isn't it? And, that's where your language starts to come about, is that you've got your own shapes, you've got your own mark. And like a poet, or, like like a performer who's a musician as well, they've got their own signature in what they do and how they make. And I then went home and read Cloud Street, and I've read nearly everything that Tim Winton has written now. So again, being open to learning and listening, because I'll go along to this. And and again, when I was in Canada, I was fortunate enough to listen to there was a documentary on the free air station that was back in 1988. So they had like the free channel as well. And I saw a doco on Margaret Atwood, and it was her sitting under a canopy on the edge of a lake, and there's this rain dribbling down, and it was just so visual and poetic. And again, she was talking about her recurring images in her and symbols and the meanings that she's got in her works as well. So you start kind of picking up on that. And that, I guess it gets back to that time in university where where I was involved with poets and performers and musicians, and it was just such a rich a rich gift, I think, to have that opportunity and to go to university, because I failed art in the HSC. I finally got to go to university. I got it on a remark because I was defiant. I'm a bit naughty. So that's where I like to tell, that's where the stories are good. Like if you can tell those stories and people can relate to those stories and go, yeah, that happened to me as well. And, and I think that there's a power in the sharing, and there's a power in that storytelling. And, that's, I think that's just, that's really, really special. And
yeah. I want to show, because you were talking about your reoccurring motifs in your work, and I've got some examples of that in your work. Some of the ones that I love that you do are your mounds, and they just remind me of those big termite mounds certainly in New South Wales, but throughout Australia that we have those, and most recently in a book that you've been working on. So I'd love to just show people a couple of, if that's okay, and maybe talk to those. This is a book that you're working on at the moment. You've just finished.
Yeah, this is my book that I've just been working on, and I've really enjoyed making it in the course, and it was kind of based on my times in Central Australia, and I just love the fact that I live in this sunburnt country. And when I was kind of thinking about this, I was thinking of a poem by Dorothea McKellar as well. And I love a sunburnt country, a land of sweeping plains, of rugged mountain ranges, of droughts and flooding rains. I love her far horizons. I love her jewel sea, her beauty and her terror, the wide brown land for me. And it's this sunburnt country is just incredible. So I've recycled a lot of the cloth in this book, and the book opens up to very wide, 1.3. Yeah, I've just had a brain scan then, but yeah, it's really, really, really wide. It's as wide as my dining room table, and I just wanted to do the panoramas, and I wanted to celebrate some of the gifts that people have given to me, some of the recurring images in my work. So you'll see there's an A there, I touch on that with some of the asemic writing, and that's been a common common thread that I've been exploring just in the last couple of years. But it also echoed back to a chappie's work that I saw when I was in Barcelona as well. And, you know, I wanted to, this is my story about my country. So, yeah, that one there, you know, that A is kind of appearing in you know, that's a recurring image in, you know, in Tappy's work as well as the cross. And, you know, seeing that work in the flesh in Barcelona was just, oh, you know, like, you know, that time when you actually get there in a place like Barcelona and it's like, you just, you know, you've just got shivers in you when you're seeing someone, you know, the work of one of the people that you've idolised for so long, and, you know, seeing that in the flesh was just incredible. So, yeah. So the recurring images are just part of, you know, who you are as a creative, you know, and it's, you know, for me, there's so many different symbols in my work. You know, behind me here, you can kind of see some here as well. The piece that I've worked on called Tidal Moon, and, you know, it's all about my references to living on the coast, and, you know, the tide patterns that we have here as well. And, you know, it's, you know, the moon has been a recurring motif in my work for since art school days. You know, that it's a circle, it's a shape, it's a dot, it can be, you know, all sorts of things, and it can be just different reference points. And, you know, I've even got like the little over here, little half moons that, you know, the half moons, I did a whole series of drawings based on star maps as well. And, you know, it's just yeah, I just like anything with texture, and, you know, just making these mixed media fibre works now. I'm a bit addicted to fibre at the moment. I'm a painter, but I'm a, you know, I've come out of the closet, as I've told Gladys called a few times. And then the people in the group say now at Gladys's masterclass, and they say, well, you know, you've been out of the closet for a while, and I realise that I have been as well. But like a lot of people think that I'm a painter, and, you know, it's, you know, but, you know, like I've loved cloth ever since I was as a young girl, and, you know, cloth for me is just, you know, I love this. I used to love the sound of my mum, you know, making, you know, pinafores for us on the red Leminex, you know, table, and it was, you know, the sound of the scissors as they're cutting, and the, you know, the sound of the, you know, the sound of ripping of the cloth, and the, you know, just that, you know, the touch and the feel. It's, I guess, because I'm this intuitive, you know, I'm very sensual. I like to. It's such a sensitive medium to work in, and so tactile that you've just got to touch it. And, you know, that's what I love about fibre, and, you know, letting the fibre guide you along as well, I think is just, I just think that's really, really special. So, yeah, I've been working in fibre on and off for a long time. Well, not on and off. I've been doing it every year since art school, and, you know, whenever my down actually make, and I stitch, and I make whatever, and, you know, that's my way of kind of winding down. But I didn't really show that until I was involved with a group exhibition when I was invited. And, you know, there was a whole group of people that were invited to be in a show in Canberra. Yeah. So can you hear me now? Is it okay?
It just broke up a little bit there for a minute. It sort of comes in and out, but yeah, you were talking about a group exhibition in Canberra.
Yeah. Yeah, so, and it was really interesting because they decided it was for a textile symposium, and because I was in a group of studios at Anchor in Dixon, which is, you know, it was a great opportunity to be there. I was there for nearly 6 years, and they decided, the people that were running the textile symposium decided that they would ask the people from the Anchor 2D studios as well as the Anchor Sculpture Studios to respond to this request to make a handkerchief. And it can be, as long as it's the size of like the standard size of a woman's handkerchief and a man's handkerchief. And I just thought, this is going to be really, really interesting. And, I just really enjoyed that, to be able to be involved in that group show and to, it was, it gave me permission to sort of look at becoming a fibre artist. And at the same time, I went to, there was part of the Textile Symposium there in Canberra was a big show at the School of Art. And I fell in love with this artist from Western Australia, Elsie von Keppel, and her work just spoke to me. I was just in awe of that work, and I just thought, I just want to keep on making, these beautiful stitches like she was making, which was just a continuous running stitch, and which is kind of what I love to do anyway. And I ended up discharge dyeing velveteen and scarifying it and putting little pockets underneath, which were like little secrets. And, it was just so interesting to sort of see that. After I'd done the handkerchief show, I then went on to do another show called Cryptal Orchard. And Cryptal Orchard was a great one because it was with 4 artists. Julie Ryder was one of them, Marianne Hatcher, Cheryl Jobs, and myself. And again, 4 different female artists that were trying to demystify the life cycle of a female. And, for me, I was just going through a divorce, and I decided that I wanted to bury some things from my past, and I wanted to bundle them up and bury them. So we decided that we would all do this and bury them in Gorman House, which is where all of the artists have their studios in Canberra as well, and that's where a lot of the arts editors were as well. And we decided to bury it in the garden of Gorman House, and Helen Musa was the editor at the time, and she was saying, what are you girls doing out there? And, we're giggling and, we're burying these, and we exhumed them 12 months later and reworked them for another exhibition. So it was a really, really interesting time to push our boundaries more. And, 4 different artists that were working in different genres. And, it was we got a review from the Canberra Times, and the reviewer said she didn't really understand it, but it was a really, really exciting exhibition, and but she would like to see it grow into something else. And we did that again, and we did still Cryptal Orchard, and we did it with the exhumed works as well. And the same reviewer came back again, and she said, oh my gosh, I now understand what it was all about. And that was just so liberating to kind of see that, that we were able to speak to so many people, and women were writing in our books, and we were getting like long essays, and people were really moved by what we were saying and what we were doing. And, for me, coming from more of a painter background and just getting into fibre more, it was the power of the language of the cloth, and what that material how that material can speak and tell a story. And to do the handkerchiefs and then to do this other exhibition, was just so exciting. So and it was it made sense to me to be able to again tell that story and to relate it back. And I wrote a poem that day as well. On my handkerchief, I actually wrote a poem and screen printed a rose and the poem relating back to my past as well, because I've got a tattoo on my leg, and it was a rose because my dad used to always give me roses. So, and then when he passed away, I thought, he didn't really like tattoos, but I really want to get one. So I did. And it was a rose tattoo. So it was, yeah. So it was, that was, again, because I was surrounded by other poets and, I've collaborated with a poet, a poet in Canberra, and I've collaborated with a poet in Broken Hill as well. And, it's just really lovely to share, processes, with people from other areas, like with sculptors, with writers. And, I just think it's really healthy to push the dialogue a little bit further about, sharing the way we work. And so it was, very exciting.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I want to talk briefly about the Mona Hessing exhibition that you've just finished. That I was lucky enough to come up and see it when it was there, and it was just incredible. Your work was amazing. Everybody's work within the exhibition was amazing, and I loved your huge panoramic piece. And then I'd really love to talk to you about your brushes as well. So would you like to give people a little bit about insight about Mona Hessing and what that was like, that collaborative process that you had there?
The Mona Hessing project it was a tribute project. We were the group of artists that I've been involved with on and off for a long time, called FTAG, the Eurobdella Fibre and Textile Art Group, had excuse me, just got to get a drink. Had some materials that were donated from the Mona Hessing estate. And it was a lady called Barbara Marlis who had given the group the materials. And we were at a retreat, and I love going to these retreats with other fibre artists, and they're just a wonderful way of, they've got a wonderful way of coming together. And, when I was sitting with my friend Mishi, who was one of the founding members of the group. And we went in to have a look at the materials, and we both looked at one another, and I said, wouldn't it be great if we could do an exhibition based on the materials? And, we had our, with the FTAG's anniversary was coming up as well. And, wouldn't it be a wonderful tribute if we could, we could use these materials and, do a group exhibition? And I said, I would really love to, give my gift back to FTAG by donating my time and, workshopping with the group and seeing whether we could, increase the professional development of the group as well. So to get it to a stage where it could be more of a selected exhibition rather than a group exhibition. And so we present that to the committee, and, we had a yes. So I drove home and I started researching about the life of Mona Hessing, and I found this interview on Trove, a Hazel de Berg interview, and it was with Mona Hessing talking about her life. And there were so many parallels to my life as an artist as well, because, Mona loved to work in isolation, and I actually like to work in isolation as well in my studio. Mona was also a Churchill Fellow, and I'm a Churchill Fellow. Mona's family were born in the Hunter Valley, and my family were born in the Hunter Valley. And her grandmother was from Minmai, and my grandmother is buried in Minmai. And, it was much more than that as well. She would talk about her process of working, and, she was saying, you've got to be able to sit with the work or sit in a place, and don't force what you think you're going to do. You've got to let the material speak first and speak to you, and to let it evolve in what it's meant to be, which is kind of the way I work as well. And it was just so interesting to sort of see, by the time we bundled up all of the material, we divided it up, we decided that we'd apply for an exhibition at the Basil Sellers Art Centre in Moruya, which was, it's a hard exhibition to get into. There was only limited spaces, and we yeah, I ended up having 5 days to write the expression of interest, and we'd had paid a visit to see their collection at the National Gallery of Australia, and I was able to get a letter of support from the NGA. So, that was fantastic, and the curation then to get accepted into a gallery like that, where you don't have to have any hangers, you can have the work, just pinned onto the wall. Mine was just suspended with, there was room for suspensions hanging from the ceiling. Mine was just tacked on as well, and it was I think that one of the best ways to be able to view a show, with the most wonderful curator, with Elizabeth. She made our work sing, and it was just, to see the growth in the artist. We did a series of workshops. We actually survived we ended up having to stop a lot of our work because of the fires. One of the ladies lost her house, and so she had to pull out. A lot of the people fought for their houses. It was, an incredible time. So we lost one workshop time as well, and we lost a lot of making time because we had to hide. We had to hide our work or bury, put it aside in a very safe place and pack our cars, and so it was a hard time, and but it was also really, in some ways it was a good time, because what I decided to do changed for me, and it was interesting because I thought, well, what the hell am I going to pack in the car? And I'm responsible for all of these materials as well, and I had the car packed 3 times, because the closest we got was 6 kilometres away with the fire. But and then I had to decide, well, what am I going to take? And so I decided, okay, it was really, really quick and really, really quick, and I just picked all of these earthy colours, and it was just really interesting because I wouldn't have chosen those colours. I was going to do really soft, minimal, and blah blah blah, and again, it's like, if you I decided I wanted to work with what I'd set aside, and that was my challenge. And I worked on it for a little bit, and I didn't really like it, and I really wanted to kind of look at the stages of times that we were in isolation of the making, which was an 8-week chronicle. So I had eight sections in the piece that ended up, and I had it in a really big kind of rectangle section, and I didn't like it at all. And I'd started stitching it, and I thought, oh, this is a load. This is not working, and I'm just going to cut it up, and I'm going to cut it up into those sections, chronicling those 8 weeks, and they became like those 8 weeks became punctuation marks as well. So where the tacks ended up becoming the punctuation mark, and it kind of went in those waves of times of, and it was just, for me, I titled the work the Fragile Earth series, and they were, there was one there called Limbo Land, which I was very much in Limbo Land at the time. One called Deliverance, which was the big long one, and the other one was Scorched Earth. But then I also was making a whole lot of vessels as well, and the vessels for me started when I was in Canberra minding my daughter for a long time, and I was taken away from work, from my studio. So I decided I'd start making some little vessels, shredding some tarlatan, and that became these really beautiful series of petite bowls, and they became a kind of a symbol of gratitude for me, that they got me through that time with my daughter, but it also got me through that time of being in isolation, as we then had the fires and then the time of COVID as well. And so the Petite series were a series of 21 vessels, and on 21 vessels in 3 series. So I had the petites were earth one, which was using Mona's yarn, and they were really, really fine. And it was a combination of her hand spun yarn that was hand dyed in India, and in varying shades of colours as well. And there was also hand spun silk that I deconstructed out of some pieces that were in this bundle that were donated. And so it was just so comforting to be able to go, okay, I'm just going to deconstruct all of these pieces to make them into the vessel. So I had the tarlatan ones, which were the gratitude ones, and then it was the petite. I did the symbol of hope as well, which was the silk ones. And the silk ones were just so beautiful, and they were just so really, really interesting. And, making something, like, people were just like amazed at how solid they can feel. But they became like this, this gift of, they became this gift to me of a symbol of hope. And so the silk ones were like that. And then I had the sisal. What am I going to do with the sisal? And it was really hard. So I decided to deconstruct the sisal, and it was kind of all fluffy, and I ended up like coiling it really, really finely and then hand stitching it, and I made those into my fireballs. So the fireballs representing the time and the time of the fires as well. So, like, again, turning something into positive. And, for me now, I kind of look at that time of, I had that time to be in total isolation, and it was a great comfort to me to be able to be an artist in residence in my own house, in my own studio, and, to make these vessels. And, I'm a bit addicted to the vessels now, and I'm going to be making a lot more of those in the future as well. So there'll be part of that coming up. Yeah.
And I apologise we didn't have those images preloaded of your magnificent work. I apologise, everybody, but we do have a little video of it online on YouTube of that exhibition, and I believe that you can get it through the gallery, the Baz Gallery. The Baz Gallery website also has it up. So we'll put some links in this comment thread so people can go back and have a look at that work.
And that was great too, for you to be able to have the opportunity to film that there as well, and be able to have a drone. It was just incredible. I was just Anyway,
That was fun. We that was something Liz McChrystal at the Baz, she'd never seen before. I'd never seen it before either. We got to fly a little drone around the gallery, and what was so beautiful about it was the pieces started to float and move, like the ones that were suspended, because it's very windy. That these tiny, like, I think it was only a small one that our drone operator had, and he was surprised as well that it was just really, really fantastic. But certainly check it out. We've got it on YouTube. You can have a look. And
what a wonderful way to pay tribute to one of the, one of Australia's leading fibre artists of her time, and to, to have her life cut short, and to, she's always going to, her voice is with me all of the time. I would listen to that interview whenever I wanted to refocus again. And, I made all of the people in the group, they had to listen to that video as well, or that interview. And, it made sense. It made each of us grow. We all grew as artists, and it was just wonderful.
Oh,
yeah.
Lorna, we've been going for over an hour. Are you okay to talk a little bit about your brushes before we head off? Or if you're tired, we can.
I'm fine.
You okay?
John's up in the house watching footy.
I'd love to share the story of the story about how your brushes started and where that's taken your work, and I'll pop up a few images of some of your brushes as well.
Yeah. Look, the brushes started when I was in Venice with the Global Art Project, and when I was there in Canaragio on the second time, I wanted to meet up with another artist from Milwaukee in Wisconsin, Alison E. Cook. So my other friend, Liz Smallwood, from Merimbula, decided to come with me as well. So she wanted to do my workshop in Venice, and it was just fantastic because we were able to hop on a train to get to Florence, and we met up with Alison, and it was on our last night together, and we were talking about the different tools that we use when we work, and because she uses different tools and so do I scrape and do all sorts of things, and she said, I want to make my own brushes, and I said, that's what I want to do as well. And we set each other a challenge, and it was not, by the time I got back, Alison actually had made, I think, 4 or 5 brushes really, really quickly, and I thought, oh no, I've got to pull my finger out and actually make them now. So I started researching. I started researching them then, and I got some albums on Pinterest, and like it was just really interesting. Grabbing a folder and just to see how they would work. And these are some of my very first ones, and they were collected from the Pambula River mouth, and they were all from my local area. They are, these I would say are more object based, and I think they are beautiful objects, but I soon realized that brushes would make the most amazing marks, and they would kind of set you free. These brushes are again more object based, but they tell different stories of plant fibres, deconstructing a piano and performing at a gallery in Canberra, at Nishi Gallery as well, with an old Berlin piano that had been deconstructed. That was fun. But yeah, it's I love making them as objects, but for me, it's more about, making the marks, and, I can make huge ones. That one there is in my house, and, it's a ginormous one. It'd probably be about, in the old scale, about 6 foot long, and from the ocean debris and collected pieces that I got from Eden Harbour. What I liked about making the brushes as well, it gets me out and about in the landscape a little bit more in my own community. And, I love to be able to recycle and reuse as well. And, what I found with the brushes is that once I started making the marks with them, it was such a surprise to me that, that it was so liberating. It kind of, I tell people that it opens the channel deep within you when you're making them, and that for me is just so special. And what I've learned, I've learned to make the 5 best brushes now as mark makers. I still like making them as objects as well, but I just love what brushes can do, and it's like it's a two-way partnership with, you have to choose your own handle. You have to choose your own head, the length of it, the shape of it, the size of it, and you have a deep connection with that, with the stick in the first place, and maybe the plant fibres, or wherever and it can be a bit of cloth that you've bound it with, or, there's this connection that you will have forever with those brushes. But there's something so much more special when, you make that first mark. And, I tell people that it's more a ceremony, when I do a workshop, I like to say, please be quiet now, because this is the first mark that you're going to make. It's the first brush the first mark that this brush is going to make, and it's kind of a sign of respect for me as well. You don't know what it's going to, what mark it will make, and where it can actually lead you as well. And and it's that beautiful moment in a group when, and for me personally, when I'm by myself, there's a sound of, the dipping of the ink. There's a sound that the brush makes it as it hits the paper, and there's an energy in a room when people get that delight when, oh, this is exciting, and I made this brush and I made these marks, and it's I feel really proud of my groups when when they do that, and it's a special time that's got to be marked that way, and I like to be able to record the first marks and to sort of just see where it can take me as well. But it's this, it's a two-way street. It guides you, and after a while you kind of know, after a while what it can do. But I still want to play with it and to see where it's going to take me as well. And it's such a it's so liberating, and it's the brushes have taught me so much, and like I'm so grateful for for Alison, because I think he's going to be in the course as well. So yeah, it'll be great to sort of talk with Alison as well. We keep in contact all of the time. We speak regularly, and that's the beauty of being somebody in the flesh rather than But yeah, the brushes are just and to make keep a record of the books, and to be able to to learn so much about your language, but it gives so much more meaning, and there's so much value for you as an artist to be able to speak your language as well. And whether it's abstract, whether it's it doesn't really matter. It's it's your songline, it's your poem, it's your whatever you want to make it to be, and and be proud of that.
Oh, that's beautiful, Lorna. And watching you make your brushes, like, we were lucky that we could go and be out on the beach, and we collected the driftwood and then come back to the studio and then make them. And then the ones that you displayed and teach people how to do during your course are actually, I don't know if people can see, they're behind me here. You were so generous and gifted the samples that you made and that you used during the course. And I don't know if I'll ever use them. They're my pieces of art now, and they're just stunning. And you inspired me to make my own. And I came home, and my daughter and I, we made our brushes, and we ended up like tearing up one of my nan's old dresses, and we wrapped, like, she probably, it was old, don't worry. But it was, I'd rather use it and then have it displayed on the wall than never see her dress again. So it was just incredible.
That's the beauty of it as well. There's you've got that story now, and that's the beauty of making these perfect, and they're perfectly imperfect. They're beautiful, and they are objects of desire as far as I'm concerned. And but they also speak so much about the person who's the maker, who's the shaper, the creator, and they've been an incredible gift to me, and I think it's really nice. Like, I love to be able to give gifts to people, and if why can't I gift people brushes, and and I just think that I think it's a good thing to do. To give is just as good as to receive, and I've done that a lot, and I think it's it's something special about it. So
well, working with you was an absolute gift, and piecing together your course for you digitally and doing it was just an amazing experience, very humbling experience for both my husband and I, who had the pleasure of working with you. And I just wanted to say a big, huge thank you. The course is now live, it's up and running, and I know that's very daunting, thing to hear, because it's like really putting yourself out there. But we'd love to invite people to check out the website, have a look. There's some beautiful videos that we made for you, and and of you creating. And Lorna, you are a gift. You really are a gift. And I can't wait to keep working with you and to see where this next journey takes you.
And thank you, Fibre Arts Take Two, because I think that what you do with these Friday nights is so special. I think I've seen nearly all of them, and it's something that I look forward to, and I learn from them all of the time. And yeah, it's just wonderful. So thank you to Fibre Arts Take Two.
Oh, you're welcome. It's our pleasure. And, you know, Francie, you'll have a laugh because, you know, I said to them the other day on our Facebook group, I said, it's my excuse to get out of my tracksuit pants as well, put on some lippy. And
yeah.
It is lovely.
Yeah.
So, well, I'd love to share a little video, a little bit about you, a little bit more about you. It's a 2-minute video, and love people to have a watch, and then we'll play our little exit video. And if you'd like to put in a comment, just say thank you to Lorna and share her some love, that would be lovely too. So thank you so much, Lorna.
Oh, my pleasure. It's been a delight.
I know.
Now I've got to look at myself.
I know, sorry. This is always the hard bit, but I hope you like this.
A teacher said that she said if I could turn a painting around and make something, you know, upside down and then turn it around again, and I could see something in it all of the time. So I was a natural abstractionist right from the very beginning. But I always knew I was an artist. You know, as a youngster, I couldn't follow any rules. So when I went to art school, I decided to be a painting major, printmaking secondary, and a textile secondary as well. Fibre art has always been a part of me. Like, I've been a bit of a closet fibre artist for many years, and you know, I've now come out of the closet. Giving you permission to find your own voice is my gift. That's my strength as a tutor. And that's what I love about teaching, and that I hope that I can give you the strength to stand up for yourself as whatever artist you want to be. I want to get to the essence of who you truly are. When I'm teaching this course, it reminds me each time of the joy that it brought me. To be able to share that joy with others is equally as important. After you've completed this course, I want you to have this total feeling of achievement. You know, this is what I've made. I can understand now who I am as an artist, and to be proud of what you have made.